We welcome you all to this Water Tenure Mondays webinar series. I'm Sofia Espinosa. I'm a land and water tenure expert, and I'm the coordinator of the ScaleWatt project here in Thailand. Today, we're going to hear the water tenure in Vietnam, institutional and policy insights from the Nui Coc Irrigation System by Dr. Chính Ban, Senior Lecturer. So while we wait also for still people connecting, but let me again welcome you to this second Water Tenure Monday series. As you know, we're building on the success of the first series that was organized between 2022 and 2021 and 2022, which engaged more than 1,500 participants from all over the world and more than 140 FAO colleagues. This new series is going to focus on the Asia and the Pacific and is part of the roadmap towards the regional dialogue on water tenure for the region. As many of you may know, since 2021, FAO has supported water tenure assessments in several countries, and since 2023, these efforts are part of a larger initiative aiming to support the COAC recommendation to launch a global dialogue on water tenure in order to develop principles of responsible governance of water tenure. This is why now that water scarcity is rising across regions and that vulnerable groups like smallholders, farmers, and also fisher folks are often affected. And now we know by the assessments that many of these people rely on customary water practices that are not always formally recognized, making it essential today to understand how water rights are legally defined, socially recognized, and implemented in practice. During this session and over the coming weeks, we will share country case studies, tools, and experiences on how countries have conducted water tenure assessment and how these have strengthened not only the understanding of how water rights are allocated, but also have highlighted how water tenure has an essential role to play in sustainable and equitable water governance. In this series, some of the questions that we explore is how is water tenure studies and assessed? How does it link to governance and other resources like land, forest, or fisheries? And how can Asia and the Pacific can contribute to the global dialogue on water tenure? Our goal is to foster dialogue, share lessons, and build a common understanding across the region, paving the way to the upcoming regional dialogue in May 2026. So please keep this in mind, and and join all the upcoming activities to reach to the regional dialogue. With this in mind, I'm really happy to introduce today and to give the floor today to Dr. Chính Ban, Senior Lecturer, Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Management, and Director of the Center of Water Resources, Economics and Management at Thuyloi University in Vietnam. He has more than 28 years of experience in water policy, institutional reform, and irrigation economics. So a lot of insights for this presentation, and please don't forget to use the Q&A box for all your questions. Please, Dr. Chính, the floor is yours.
So thank you very much, Sophia, for very nice guys to introduce to introduction. So so good afternoon from Vietnam. My name is Lê Văn Chính from Thuyloi University. Today I'm very honored to be invited to talk in Water Tenure Mondays seminars. And today I'm going to present the key findings of water tenure assessments in Vietnam, focusing on institutional arrangement and policy using the case study of Nui Coc Irrigation system. These assessments was conducted from late 2021 and complete in early 2022 under the FAO projects. And my presentation today will cover 5 main parts: objectives, methodology for the study, key and main findings, recommendation, and also the room for open discussions. The primary objective of this study was to identify all types of water tenure arrangement in Vietnam, both formal and informal. Also to review the national legal and regulatory framework related to water rights, water resource management, and institutional mandates. The third objective is to assess the implementations of water tenure arrangement across the different administrative level from central to local levels. Also to analyze the water tenure governance in Vietnam, including equities, inclusiveness, transparencies, and accountabilities. And the final objective is to provide some recommendations to improve the recognition and enforcement of the legitimate water tenures. So as you may know, water tenures as defined by FAO refer to the relationships where legal or customarily defined between people with respect to water resource. So strengthening these relationships is very important to ensure that all stakeholders, including vulnerable groups, are recognized and protected in their access and use of waters. So the methodology in this study combine both quality and quantity techniques. It includes the desk review of policy and legal documents and a detailed field assessment conducted in a pilot site. The frameworks applied was FAO 6-step water tenure assessment methods developed under the NOAA project in 2020. It includes stakeholder mapping, tenure type identifications, and analysis of governance functions. And for in that study, we select Nui Coc Irrigation system as the pilot study site due to its complexity and multi-functionality. It located about 100 kilometers northwest of Hanoi capital, Vietnam, in the Red River Basin. It is a large-scale gravity-fed system that supports for irrigation of 29,000 hectares of rice and upland crops. For rural and urban water supply, hydropower production, aquaculture, domestic and tourism service, and also flood controls. So these diversities made this system a representative model to observe a wide range of water tenure arrangement and governance practice. So before diving into the main findings, so let me briefly introduce about the water resource in Vietnam. So as you may know, Vietnam is a Southeast Asian country with a total land area of about 312,000 square kilometers, characterized by a diverse geography that includes both mountain, hills, deltas, and an extensive coastline. The country is home to around 100 million people and has a tropical monsoon climate with an average annual rainfall about 2,000 milliliters, contributing to the dense network, river networks with over 3,400 rivers with longer than 10 kilometers. So in Vietnam, we have 16 major rivers, including Mekong Delta and Red River Basin. The latter is serving as the pilot area for this study. Notably, about 72% of the catchment area of rich river basins lie outside of Vietnam national borders, highlighting the importance of transboundary water governance. So water use is dominated in Vietnam by agriculture, which accounts for 80% of the total water withdrawal, and follows by the aquaculture industries and municipal supplies. And this dynamic shapes the challenges and also opportunities in Vietnam water resource management and tenure system. So here are some key findings. First one is the challenges in water sectors. So based on the assessment results and reports by the field evidence and policy analysis, four primary challenges in water resource management and water tenure governance in Vietnam was identified. So as you may see on the screen, that's the first challenge is about fragmented governance and overlapping of mandates. So before 2025, water resource management in Vietnam was distributed across 7 ministries and equivalent departments at provincial levels. So these fragmented setups create overlaps in mandates, unclear responsibilities, and also coordination failure. For example, in the Ministry of Natural Resource Environments, in charge of licensing and water resource planning, while Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development oversaw irrigation infrastructure, leading to the inconsistency between planning and operations. And at the operational level, river basins organization exists but in name, but lack authority or funding for operations. So this fragmentation severely weakens the implementation of IWIMs in Vietnam. And the second challenge is about the rapidly increasing water demands. So as is may know, Vietnam economic was urban expansion and industrialization and agriculture identifications have significantly raised the demand for waters. And this growing demand is not only matched by the sufficient supplies planning, infrastructure modernization, or in efficiency improves. So this trend threatens both quantities and reliability of water tenure across sectors. So next challenge is about the water pollution and environmental problems. So pollution from domestic, industrial, and agricultural source remains a severe threat in Vietnam. In the study area, about 70% of wastewater discharged directly into Nui Coc Reservoir occurs without license. Nationally, untreated discharge from household, livestock, aquaculture, and craft release frequently contaminate rivers and also irrigation canals. The last challenge is low productivities of the largest water user, which is irrigations. Despite being the largest water users, so irrigations contribute very little economics values per units of water use. So estimated is water irrigation water in Vietnam is only less than 0.4 US dollars per cubic meters, equivalent to only 2% of industrial water use levels. So this low efficiency system stem out from outdated infrastructure, limited service quality, and lack of the incentive for water saving technology. Owner for challenges underscore the urgent needs for improved coordination, infrastructure modernization, effective law enforcement, and incentives by reform in Vietnam water governance frameworks. So the second main finding is about the legal and institutional arrangements. So water governance is mentioned in Constitution of Vietnam and also 11 laws, and of which the law on water resources are the main and the focal points. Additionally, a wide set of decrees, circulars, and decisions create the layer and often inconsistent legal environment in the waters and water tenures. In terms of institutional settings, water resource managed by 7 main ministries at the central level, including Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Ministry of Natural Resource Environments, Ministry of Construction, Ministry of Industry and Trade, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Planning and Investments, and 7 corresponding departments at provincial levels. In terms of operations, water facilities are operated by several province organizations like irrigation and drainage management companies, Center for Rural Water Supply and Sanitation, Water Supply Company, and water user organizations. And you know that that's for before 2025, and from July from July this year, Vietnam have a big restructuring. So there are some ministry already combined, like Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment combined and merged to Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Planning and Investment merged to Ministry of Finance. And so now we also don't have the district levels as the local governments. So this reform aims to streamline management and reduce duplication and enhance accountabilities. The next findings about the water tenure arrangements. So as you may know, water tenure refers to term and condition under which water user holds access, use, control, and transfer right to water resource. And in these assessments, we examine both formal and informal tenure arrangement and point out a complex and often overlapping water tenure landscape in Vietnam. And at the national levels, we found that 8 out of 10 former water tenures types was identified. This includes tenures arrangement based on the statutory rights, for example, license, service water use, contract to arrangement, for example, irrigation service contract between the irrigation company and water users, and administrative allocation by governance agencies. However, in practice, the issuance and enforcement of license remains weak. For example, only 25% of water infrastructures in the pilot area operates under the valid license, reflecting the broader national trend of low compliance. And in the pilot area of Nui Coc, 6 former tenure type was observed. This cover use such as irrigation, aquaculture, hydropower generations, and domestic supplies. And water diversion activity and tourism operation was not governed by a clear agreement. So the absence of service contracts for this reflects significant governance gaps and potential conflicts over resource allocations. Regarding to informal water tenure arrangement, this type are widespread, especially in the rural area. So nationally, 7 informal types was identified. 3 of which was present in Nui Coc pilot areas. Informal arrangement include inherited water access practice, unlicensed ground or water abstractions, and community-based management in upland areas. For instance, up to 17% of irrigated land in the study area were identified as operating under hidden or illegal irrigation prior to 2008. So this highlights the persistence of informal access even within the regulated irrigation system. A critical example of assumed water right emerged during the interviews of this study, which local irrigation company staff who expressed the view that the public irrigation service should not be subject to licensing. So this illustrates how institution cultures and practice can challenge formalization efforts. And overall, water tenures in Vietnam is characterized by the coexistence of formal and informal system. While this flexibility allows for adaptive local management, it also introduces the challenges in ensuring the tenure securities, legal compliance, and equitable water distributions. Effective governance must therefore account for this reliability by formalizing legitimate informal practice and improving transparency in licensing and service provisions. In terms of water resource management, so we found that there was a lack of investment for quality measurements and insufficient maintenance of measurement equipment. Even we found that in the Finch survey, we found that the measurements equipment even not working for months in the pilot areas. And regarding water resource planning, no clear linkage between the irrigation planning and water resource planning was identified, while it seemed be not logically in the way of setting water resource planning as provincial water resource planning was set before the river basin and national master plans. Also, lack of participation of key stakeholders like WOs, farmers in decision making in water management at the province and system levels. So Next, finding about water qualities. Water quality, we found that is one of the biggest concern in the water sector in Vietnam. Most of wastewater from domestic agricultures relate to canal rivers without treatments. And in the study area, almost 70% of organizations relating domestic wastewater directly to the Nui Coc reservoir without license. About inspection and enforcement of current regulation, it also a big issue. In fact, there is no professional inspection body on water resource at all level, from local to centers in Vietnam. In the study areas, in 2021, there was 145 cases of violation causing the flow obstructions, water quality degradation, risk of embankment erosion, with only less than 40% of this violation was handled. Quite poor is quite poor enforcement. So in FX enforcement caused by the overlap of current regulation and weak cooperation among implementing agencies. Regarding the minimum flows, this is very slow speed of implementation because detailed regulation already in place after 5 years of the law on water resource issues. Then after 4 years later, Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment have a specific regulation for 555 structure, quite small compared with 1,000 existing water facility. Actually, it's account for 88%. It is even worse at the provincial level because more than 80% of province have written regulation but little practical implementations. For next finding about the analysis of governance of water tenures. In the pilot of area, the analysis found that there are 9 water tenure arrangement match with the 12 main type of water use in the study areas. And some water use have more than one type of water tenure arrangement, such as public irrigation schemes. And using the 4-level scale from A as the highest level to D as the lowest to assess 14 aspects of water tenure governance mentioned above. We have S score B or a moderate implementation. This indicating that the further improvements of implementation of water tenure governance. 5 score C illustrating that some measures for the water tenure governance have been implemented but needs to strengthen and expand the process. And 1 score improving that the governance of water tenures clearly recognize the human right to food and waters in Vietnam. So this moderate progress, but clear area needs strengthening, especially in enforcement, participant, and monitoring. For analysis of relative security of water tenures, we found that no fully secure water tenure types of nice observed management 5 are relative secures, 2 have a limited secures, and 2 have very low or no tenuous secures. Some existing issues are found in the analysis for the Vietnam. First one is ineffective implementation of IWIM with fragmentations in water governance, lack of river basin organizations, incomprehensive water planning, and conflicts in water allocations. That is because the National Water Resource Master Plans has not been approved by the time of the study. Also, there are only few river-based and plans so far. Also, there is limited monitoring and measurement of water resource. Another issue is effective enforcement of water license grant. In fact, in the study area, about 25% of water facilities with water license, and for the whole of Vietnam, accounting for about 35% of the total requires. Regarding law enforcement, we found that law enforcement and violation of protective area of water resource and water facilities is also the big challenges for Vietnam. That is because a lack of participation of relevant stakeholders in the decision making process and ineffective with poor feedbacks from stakeholders. They also from constrained capacities of the provincial agency to monitor and control the legislations, and many violations. There are many violations, but small number are handled. For example, in our study, we found that in 2019, more than 66,000 cases across Vietnam, but only around 21 addressed. Also, there is ineffective inspection of water resource at all level. Regarding to water quality and wastewater management, there's limited enforcement of water qualities legislation in Vietnam. Wastewater released and waste disposed to to canals, irrigation canals of ecosystems is more seriously with 12 violation case reported at the time of the studies. And wastewater from urban areas and industrial only with 60 and nearly 80% treated with the centralized system. And wastewater from agriculture crafts release even without almost without treatment. The next issue is about water use efficiency and water saving issues. So as I talked in early in this presentation, that irrigated agriculture is the largest water use, but with the lowest water use values. Meanwhile, a review of drainage and wastewaters have not been considered widespread in water management practice in Vietnam, and quality or the level of irrigation service has not been mentioned in the service contracts. So that's on main finding and issues related to water resource and water tenures in Vietnam. So based on that, we recommend four important aspects. The first is to review and revise current legal frameworks from the law to the decrees and circulars, and also need to improve the institutional arrangement towards IWIMs by River Basin Organization set up with full and relevant capacities. And we also suggest to improve the enforcement of legal regulations. By enhancing the capacity of policy-making institutions and the policy-making process with the full participation of stakeholders, providing sufficient fund for the enforcement of legal regulations, strengthening the cooperation between high and low-level agencies and amongst all stakeholders, enhance the understanding about the current regulation, especially the water conservation, water savings, efficient water use, and environment protections. And it also need to increase and focus on demand management approach for water sector by improved right irrigation practice and strengthening the monitoring system and capacity building on inspections. We have done this study, but we found that there's still limitations and further study needed. At that time, in 2021, water tenure is still a new concept. And we conduct in the short time, and also, as you know, affected by COVID-19 at that time. So we have not enough time, I think, to discuss in depth with farmer and households. And also, as I mentioned in beginning, that in this study we focus on gravity irrigation system. So further study should be needed at the highest, like the river basins or lower as on-farm irrigation systems. And other type of irrigation system as pumpings in different contexts, as a coastal area reacts to floods or salinity issues, or system near the big city with the urbanization challenges. And also need further study on informal water tenures arrangements. So already 4 years when we did this study, and there are already some updates in terms of institutional arrangement, like we have new laws on water resource issued by National Assemblies of Vietnam in 2023. And in this year, early this year, we have a very big restructuring the government from the central to local governments. And as you may know, in Vietnam, as a local government, before 2025, we have 3 levels as a provincial, district, and commune. But now only 2 as a provincial and commune level, no district level anymore. And number of the province already merged from 63 to 34 now. So it have a big, also big implication to water tenure governance. I already have reviewed some of updates, provisions in the new laws, and refer to the changes in water tenures. So there are 8 major changes in 2023 law on water resource and positively, the law prohibits illegal river and canal fillings, reinforcing investment of minimum flows. And also restoration of degraded water body is now encouraged with fiscal incentives. This aligning with the FAO sustainable goals and some of the policy for water supply in disadvantaged area improves equitable access, while mandatory secular water use promotes reuse and pollution controls. In addition, free exemption from remote and mountainous areas and reuse system lower barriers and incentives legal compliance. However, the law also requiring household to declare the groundwater wells formally informal use, which could burden poor user despite improving data transparencies, and also shorten license duration to 10 years for surface water and 5 years for groundwaters. So this reduces the tenure security and contract reached false concern over the short terms contracts. And 11 small screens you are now exempt from permit, partly legalizing informal practice, but potentially weakening oversight. Overall, the law introduced stronger environmental protection and equity measures, but require careful implementation to avoid undermining the tenure stability and data coherence in water sectors. So in conclusions, this study demonstrates that Vietnam has made progress in identifying water tenure challenges, particularly at the institutional and legal level. However, securing equitable and sustainable tenure arrangement requires stronger enforcement, includes plannings and alignment between policy and practice. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I welcome any question or discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chin, for this wonderful presentation and for trying to summarize something that was long time ago done as a research, but also bringing up some new and updates from that time. So now we're going to open the floor for questions and answers. So I see there's already some questions in the chat, and I'm gonna see, I can read it, but I will encourage colleagues, please, Louise, Lien, and Julie, if you can raise your hand, and I will please open your mic. Louise, you wanna start?
Yeah, sure. So thank you very much for, I think the presentation is very useful, especially on the update after the restructurization of the government. So my name is Luis from GWP Southeast Asia, and this presentation is very related to our work on integrated water resource management. So my questions first is, how might this government restructuring affect the water tenure security, especially for the communities, farmers, and other local users in area where informal arrangements played a major role? Thank you so much.
So,
Maybe, please go ahead.
Luis, do you refer that the restructuring affects to the water
Yes.
tenure, right?
Yes, especially for the local farmer and informal arrangement of water tenure, because you mentioned that 17% of the irrigation system are from the informal arrangement. So I'm curious to understand whether there is an impact of this government restructuration to this informal arrangement of water tenure.
From my experience and knowledge, I think that's restructuring the somehow because you know that's informal. Sometimes it could be changed by the power ons from the local authorities, right? But now in Vietnam, from three local governments level, now we only have tools at the provincial and communes. And actually, commune now is a bigger. I think it's cheap 3 times bigger than previously. So I think that from beginnings, new structure may influence to the water tenures governance because as you know, the new structure needs some time to get families or get how to say get to manage it properly. So I think that's sometime maybe sometime later it could be okay, but from beginning, the new organization may be affected by the restructures. Yeah. Because you know,
Thank you.
because you know that, as you know that one of the weak points in water channels in Vietnam, that is the weak in monitoring systems. Yeah. So because we change the structures, so it may influence. I have spent some time to revise the changes of the updates of the new law on water resource on water channels, as I mentioned, but I do not have enough time to assess the changes of the restructuring, how it can affect to the water channels at the moment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chin. And yes, we can see that water tenure assessment gives you a snapshot and a moment, but it will be good to start reflecting on how to also update this information when there is structural and policy changes in the country. So thank you for bringing this up too. I see 2 more hands. Please, Julie, go ahead, and then we have a Russian. Please go ahead. Really, I don't know, maybe your mic's
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Perfect. Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Professor Chin, for your talk. My question is about 2 points. It seems from your presentation that implementation of the national laws is quite difficult. So would it be more promising to do the opposite? Instead of having a top-down implementation, really understand in depth the informal arrangements and propose to the people using those informal arrangements to have an official recognition of what they have set up. Could that be a path forward? Would that be a possibility? Would it be helpful? That's my first question. My second question is about productivity. If we look at productivity of irrigation simply in terms of how much water is taken from the environment compared to how much crop is produced on one plot, then indeed the productivity is very low in such systems. But if we look at the entire trajectory that water follows, because water, when you bring quote unquote too much water for one crop on one field, it percolates through the soil and it goes elsewhere. And maybe it allows trees to grow in the neighbor's field. Maybe it allows other farmers to have crops. where officially they have not taken the water. So if we look at the entire trajectory of water, very often we find it's more productive in terms of local food security than if we introduce drip irrigation. So could changing our outlook on productivity to look at the entire trajectory of the water, would that be a path forward? It could save a lot of investments, maybe, and it could maybe be more useful to generate local food security. They're both questions. I very much appreciated your presentation. I've never been to Vietnam, and you really made me feel like, oh, I would love to do field work over there. So these are just two questions that I kept having in mind while I was listening.
Thank you. Dr. Chính, if you allow me, since we are running a bit out of time, but I will want to bring, I see Rasha has her, also her hand up. If you want to propose a question, and then we will bring I will give you the floor back, Dr. Chính.
Okay.
Please, Rasha.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Actually, in the previous slides, I saw there's a mention about improved rice irrigation. So, is there any practices of with rice irrigation and saving water? Do you have another details about it?
Thank you. And Dr. Chính, I'm going to read the last question here, so please feel free to answer the most, let's say, burning issue you have. But there's another question, and if there's also a bit linked with the question before, is if there's also scope to improve water allocation within the irrigation system, for example, by different timing, quantities, and conjunctive use. Thank you, Dr. Chính. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Julia and Rasa, for very interesting question, but also it's quite difficult question from Julia. I think that in terms of the implementation of the law on water resource, I think that actually the Vietnam government have very high promising high expectation to combine law, but actually in the practice we have problem with the enforcement. That is, as I mentioned in some slide earlier, that is because of different views, and I think that's one of the big challenging issue, because Vietnam water management in Vietnam is managed by two main centers, governments. So in the new law on water resource already introduced some 8 major changes. So I think that from the perspective of the governments, I agree with you that we could think how we can change improve the knowledge, and how to say, mobilize the participation from the local people involved during the laws settings. So one of the other I think that the other thing that where the enforcement of the law become very difficult, because of Vietnam, we also have the lack of the monitoring and evaluations from the central to the local, and lack of the indicators with the participant from the local anti-cancer center. So sometimes it's disconnects because we don't have the I think the fluent and the professional monitoring system. So may I get the point?
Thank you, Dr. Chi. I see colleagues' apologies were a bit over time. So, but please, Dr. Chin, allow us to share we can share the report of the water tenure assessment from Vietnam that also includes some case studies of the research and the field research if you're interested in knowing more also about the local practices. That I think is really important, and is also one of the objectives is start seeing what is maybe not recognized by the legal framework, but actually we've seen that some of the local practices are more flexible and allow more production of food and resilience in terms of when there's floods or water scarcity. So please feel free to contact Dr. Chin. With this, I also, before closing, I want to invite you to the upcoming series and presentations. We're going to hear in the next sessions the cases of Cambodia and Indonesia. And as you know, please note that all the videos and PowerPoints will be available on the ScaleWatt website. You have now in the chat some information. And please note that this is all, as we mentioned, part of the roadmap towards the regional dialogue that is going to be happening in Bangkok in May next year. And we will also be launching a champions campaign with the aim of collecting cases of what actually can constitute a water tenure champion. Who water user organizations or Basin collectives or fishery collectives that we want them to share their vision with us, their practices with us. And we will have also a capacity development session just on the water tenure assessment guide for those that are hearing and listening today to the results. But if you want to conduct an assessment in your country, please keep in touch and register to this capacity development session that is going to be happening next year. With this in mind, I thank you all colleagues for joining today, and I hope to see you again in the coming weeks. I'm really happy to see some old faces from the Global Water Tenure Expert Group, but a lot of new faces as well. I hopefully in the future we will have a water tenure expert group also for Asia and the Pacific. So thank you so much, colleagues, and see you next week.